What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Bleep Bloop podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, I want to say welcome to the podcast. Bleep Bloop is a gaming podcast that is not like the normal gaming podcast. I am a one-man show, but I don't talk about the gaming news or reviews, asterisks. What I like to talk about is those gaming water cooler topics. The topics that gamers think about. Maybe they talk about them amongst their friends, or they ask the question or carry the conversations in the subreddits or on the Facebook groups. That is what the Bleep Bloop podcast is about. You can find it on all podcast platforms. You can also find it on bleepblooppodcast.wordpress.com. Custom domain coming soon. And you can check out all of the links on linktree/bleepblooppod or /bleepblooppodcast. So, real quick update. We've been on a little bit of a hiatus, but we are coming back with even more content. You can look forward to new episodes of the podcast every Wednesday. Okay, every Wednesday we're going to have new gaming podcast episodes in addition to more content all over the place. All right, I could go into great detail, but I'll say go to the website bleepblooppodcast.wordpress.com, bookmark it, because the updates are going to be coming in a blog post that will let you know in detail what's going to be coming relatively soon. Today's episode: game backlogs never end. Am I right or am I right? You know, it used to feel like you could get caught up with a game backlog because, you know, for the most part, you would buy games hard copy, especially if you were a console player, or even a PC player. You would buy them and play the game, have to wait for the next game to come out. You might get an expansion pack if you were playing on PC, but you usually played those games for a while, and you know, you could get caught up. And then when stores like GameStop and Best Buy or Amazon started selling the hard copies, you could get those games that maybe you missed out on release relatively quick and at a discount. So now your library's building up. Then retro gaming got big again and people were just collecting the systems. So you had all those games you wanted to get caught up on. And then you started to be able to get games digitally. So then Steam rolls around and you got hundreds of games in there. And then Xbox Game Pass comes out. And PlayStation Plus comes out. And then the Nintendo eShop opens up. So you have all of these places where you can get these games. So now the backlog just never diminishes to a point where you are actually caught up. Like, I know for me, I've bought games that I swore I was going to play the day I bought them. And I saw something else. And I bought that too. I was like, okay, I'll play this tomorrow, or I'll play this later tonight. Later tonight comes around after hours of scrolling through pages of games and watching trailers and checking out reviews and going to YouTube and watching gameplay. Hours roll by and I decide to go to sleep. Wake up the next day. I don't feel like playing that. Maybe I'll play something else. So then I start looking again. Or then, have you ever done this? Said, nah, you know what? I'm going to play all of this game. I'm going to 100% this game. And then I'm going to play part 2. Or let's even do one better. A new chapter in that game comes out. Just using this as an example. Watch Dogs Legion. Oh, that's the 3rd game in the series. I know they're pretty much standalone games, but I can't play that one if I haven't played the first one. I'm going to play the first one first. But it's kind of dated. I don't know. Maybe I'll just play part 2. Oh, wait, I remember I never finished that one mission on Grand Theft Auto. So I feel like the backlog is just never going to end. You know how it ends? It ends by not buying any more games or only buying physical copies. And some games, I don't even know if you can get physical copies. I know indie games do it, but they're usually really hard to find. You have third-party distributors that will push the games out for a limited time only, but once their inventory is gone, you can't pick them up. If you find them from a reseller, they're usually going to be marked up in price. Steam will have sales where you can maybe get the game at a discount, but you have to wait for that sale. So the reality is you're just never going to get the backlog caught up. Like for me, for PlayStation games, I probably got a good 100 or so PlayStation 4 games. I have about a good 20, 30 Xbox One games because you can get most of them on Game Pass now. Switch games, I got about a good 10, 15 of them, but I got about another 10 digitally. And then let's not count all the PlayStation Plus games you got access to, all the Xbox One games you got access to. And then if I go to my Steam library, I got hundreds of games. And then I even got 200 or so on my wish list that I haven't even got yet. And there's always new games coming out. Just never fails. So what do you do to mitigate it? You know, like what do you do to get the backlog caught up? Do you just lock yourself in your room and say, I'm not looking at no game sales, no online stores, I'm not reading no reviews, I'm not watching no showcases, I'm just going to sit down and start from A and go all the way to Z every time I play games? I mean, maybe that's how you do it. I know there's some people that do that, and that's a challenge. Maybe that's a good challenge, right? Here on Bleep Bloop, I'll tell you what. For those of you that listen to the podcast, if I can get on my Twitter at Bleep Bloop Pod or at Bleep Bloop Podcast on Twitter, if I can get people to tweet me, complete the backlog, hashtag backlog never ends, I will take the challenge to not buy any more games and complete my backlog, starting with my PlayStation 4 games. And I'll even work out the details to where you'd be able to watch me stream them to ensure that I actually did it. And then we'll work some logistics out where we provide updates on the podcast. But I have to get, because one retweet or tweet isn't going to be enough. I have to get, let's say 20 tweets, complete the backlog, hashtag backlog never ends, on my Twitter at Bleep Bloop Pod. All right, that is the challenge. You know, if I get the tweets, I'll absolutely take it up. I'll do it. But I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I have confidence in the community that is here with Bleep Bloop, but you know, we shall see. But what about you? How are you going to complete it? Are you ever going to try to complete it? Is it something that we are just going to be plagued with forever? Like it never is going to go away? And the only way to vaccinate yourself of it is you have to purge your desire to look at any showcases or sales at least 4 times a year. So, you know, once a quarter, once every 3 months, you know, to ensure that you don't buy more games. Because the reality is I see something, I'm going to buy it. You know, if it looks good, I'm picking it up. Alien Dark Descent, that game looks pretty sick. I'm not even going to lie. And those types of games aren't even my thing. Not alien games, but the I think it's like a turn-based game or real-time strategy. I don't know, something like that. But just the gameplay, like, it looks good. It looks really good. But because I love Alien and I love all of that lore and that universe, I'll absolutely dive into that game. So that's just an example of another one I had no thoughts of until like yesterday. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Like I said, if y'all can meet the challenge from me, 20 tweets on my Twitter at BleepBloopPod, complete the backlog, hashtag backlog never ends, I will take up the challenge to complete my backlog. All right, y'all. Be sure to go to your favorite podcast platform, follow, subscribe to the podcast. Hey, leave a review. Let me know what you liked about the episode, what if you've watched listened to other episodes, and stay tuned until the next one every Wednesday, y'all. And like I said, there is some new stuff coming down the pipe. If you want to know more, stay tuned for the next episode. Or maybe I'll tell you now. I'll give you a hint. Bits and pieces. All right. Nothing but love, y'all. Like I always say, peace.